A hollow knock sounded on the front door as Walt pried open the box. "Drag your young body over there and let your friend in, if that's him. I'll load up your creds." Cranky ass. But Lex crossed the room and peeked out the dirty window. "It's him." It took a solid minute to disengage all the locks and chains, but Mad didn't seem impatient. He smiled as if the night wasn't alive with the threat of violence and held up a crinkled brown paper bag. "Old man willing to deal?" "I'm very persuasive." She opened the door far enough to admit him, then glanced around the square outside before securing the locks again. "Show the man what he's bought, Mad." "The finest tech money can't buy." Maddox was nearly twice Lex's size, but he moved with deceptive grace, claiming a chair across from Walt. "I'll have you know, old-timer, that these aren't available to private owners. City issues strictly reserved for councilmen and military police. I still don't know how Lex managed to find one, but it's a thing of beauty." "Never you mind how I found it." "Stole it," she corrected silently. Not that it mattered. Walt's gnarled hands shook as he reached for his breathing device. "Flex those clever fingers, girl, and help me hook it up. If it works, the money's yours." Walt's assisted breathing device delivered oxygen through a simple set of nasal tubes. The complicated part was the apparatus itself, a small black box that worked as a conductive purifier. The small intake drew air in, filtered it, and both isolated and concentrated the oxygen content. It worked without power, but barely any more efficiently than simply breathing. Lex slipped one of the small rechargeable battery cells from the solar converter and fitted into the slot Walt indicated. A tiny light on the side of the purifier flashed blue and then a solid green, and an almost imperceptible hiss filled the room as Lex helped Walt loop the tubes over his ears and fit the points into his nostrils. Walt closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. Mad watched them both, a tiny smile curving his lips. "See, old man? Tech's so smooth it's almost magic." "Hush," Walt grumbled in between more of those relieved breaths. "This one, Lex. He has no trouble getting air, and he wastes it on so many words. Does he ever stop talking?" "Nope." Mad talked all the time, and mostly, Lex suspected, to convince people he was simple, shallow. "Don't let it fool you, though, Walt. He's sharp." Walt huffed. "The whole lot of you O'Kanes are sharp." "That we are," she teased. The old man squinted at her. "I heard Dallas had himself some trouble, though. Should I be worried about moving out to the edge of the sector? Is the place coming down around our ears?" "No more so than usual." Lex gathered the cash and credit sticks in one hand. "Anything else you're on the lookout for? Just in case I stumble across it." "I've got a new customer, a collector. He'll pay top credit for pre-flare videos. Westerns he wants. Cowboys and outlaws." Walt showed his disdain for that preference with a loud sniff. "Fools with more money than sense. But fools make my living, don't they?" "We've all got our something." Some people wanted porn. Others wanted priceless art. And others wanted vintage Clint Eastwood. I might be able to scrounge up a few. Keep in touch." Walt followed them back through the labyrinth of crates and boxes to the back door, and Lex lingered outside long enough to hear the click and scrape of every lock and chain. "Got plans?" she asked Mad, her hands in her pocket. "That's what I was about to ask you." He nodded to her jacket. "I saw you got credits." She still had her fingers wrapped around the paper and plastic in her pocket. She pulled out the handful and shoved it at him. "You and Doc can split it. You know the drill." "Doc's got a girl who can use some of this tonight." He folded the bills before dumping the credit chips into his pocket. "Pregnant. She almost drowned in the river trying to get out of 2 before—" Lex closed her eyes, as if doing so would shut out the words as well. "It's better if I don't know, Mad." "You're doing good work, honey. Helping people who need it. Why don't you ever want to hear that?" "Because it wasn't her job. Because it wasn't enough. Because Dallas would make her stop, or worse, try to throw in with her and do more. This is the way I want it." "Oh, Lex, all right." Mad threw a friendly arm around her shoulders and tugged her to his side for a brief hug.